Hello, Felicity.
Well, hello there. Your hair looks extra wavy and flowing. You must be ready for Simply Felicity show. How are you
I,
today?
I am. So listen here, what I want to do here is go onto my other device. Where do I find this?
Go,
Um, on Facebook. It's Simply
yeah,
Felicity.
go to Simply Felicity and let's both share it now. And as
Okay.
you guys are logging on, you go ahead and share it right now. It's sharing is caring time with Felicity and Dag.
All right. Hang on a second. Let me get this shared because I got to share to multiple pages here. So we'll
Oh, of
share
course.
live with Felicity. All right. There's one. Then we got to go to this one. Bear with me here. Okay, we'll go to one more. How are you? Oh shit.
I'm happy. How are you
Find
today?
this on Facebook. Hold on a second.
It's so
I have to go back
funny. I
here.
can't get my phone to be totally quiet. There we go. All right, all right, all right. You
All
almost
right.
there? How many
Let's.
groups are you so super famous in?
Well,
Come
I
on,
have
Mr.
35
Famous.
pages. I'm posting to three right now, and then I'll deal with the rest later.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, just do the hot ones right now.
all right. All right. I'm posted. How
We're
are you?
in, we're in. So good. Everyone, I want to introduce you to my new friend and co-host, Darren Dag. We do a show together. We're going to be doing the second time of perhaps what will be like a bi-monthly series. And the series is surrounding, opposites attract, a little ebony and ivory, a little crazy guy with the PhD gal. I don't know, whatever you want it to be. But we just, he interviewed me a couple weeks ago and we found out we had a lot more to say to each other, and people couldn't get enough. So that's why Felicity and the Dag are meeting here on Simply Felicity. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. You're on tomorrow on my show.
We are on tomorrow on your show, which is why I wanted to do this today to let people know to make
Cool.
sure they tune in tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central. It will be here on my page. I'll be sharing it here. I'll be sharing it to my personal page as well. So I just thought I would take a little opportunity to have you on my turf and get to know you a bit better. So how did Darren become the Dagster um, on prime time doing your awesome shows?
Well, first of all, I've been the Dag since I was a kid. That was a nickname that was given to me by a family friend, as a matter of fact. But I've been a musician my whole life, and I started touring when I was 14 years old.
Can you play?
And
Do
so,
you sing? What do you do?
I
Okay.
play guitar. I'm a musician. And I made a couple of records in Chicago. I hosted radio in Chicago on 92.7 The Bear with my former wife, Linda, who is to this day still my best friend, one of my best friends in the whole world. We owned two recording studios. We had one in Park Ridge, Illinois. We had one in Batavia, Illinois. I started this movement to support local talent back in the early 90s. And then I had done my record deals, or made my records and had some options for some success. And a funny story is that on the second record, when we released that, I started getting royalty checks and I was all excited and it was great. And I was getting some play in Japan and some play here in the States, but the checks were way bigger than the play I was getting. Turned out my music wound up in German pornography. And
Ah!
True story. And I collected those checks for 13 years. And I was so depressed the first year because I poured my heart into making these records and writing these lyrics. They meant a lot to me about my life. I didn't have an easy life growing up. As a young boy, I grew up on the west side of Chicago. I was a minority in the neighborhood. And then I moved my first 13 years of life. I moved 15 times. So it was very, very tough for me to get acclimated and have, friends and this and that. And my family wasn't, they weren't necessarily really the best. I think everybody tried their hardest, but everybody was too young. My mom was 15 when I was born. So yeah, it's kids having kids. So, the music was was an outlet for me, and writing poetry and things like that when I was younger. And then when my mother married this man when I was young, he was a musician, and the rest is history. Now my brother owns a drum shop in Villa Park, Illinois. Him and I did records together. He's a professional drummer and plays with a band called Ara out of Chicago. They do about 200 shows a year. Excuse me. And then he plays with some other bands. I'm doing a new album this year.
Nice.
It's going to be my final one. And taking a lot of old music that's written, and I have a lot of cool guest celebrity, people from the past and people from today. They're going to be playing on that record.
That's exciting.
I started the DAG show. So this all leads into the DAG show. The DAG show I started 5.5 years ago on Facebook. And it was fun, and it was funny, and it was just a good way to execute, some frustration and irritation about your week. And I brought hosts in, and Linda hosted a bunch of those shows with me again, and some other comedians and stuff I know. And it started out that way, and then Trump ran for president, and it turned into a very political show. And I became more involved in politics at that point than I've ever been in my life. And I really dug in deep, and I've been there ever since. Now that the Trump administration is done, so to speak, for now. I'm doing a lot of music. We're shooting concerts every weekend for the next 3 months. We're exposing artists, cover artists, new talent, original artists. Talking a lot about music. Heather is co-hosting those events with me. I'm doing morning coffee with DAG, or evening coffee with DAG, is really just the political stuff. And everything else, I'm doing a show called Life Rides, which we're just about done editing it and hoping to have it done by the end of the weekend. So February we can release that, where I'm retired. So I went and signed up for Lyft.
And he's the busiest retired person you've ever heard of. Anyway, continue.
So 3 years ago, I didn't have anything to do. I had been retired for several years, and I had a shop, and I just was, not doing anything. And I wasn't playing in the band. I was just buying things and refinishing furniture and guitars and doing what I wanted to do, hanging out in my shop. And I said, I got to find something to do. So I went out and bought a brand new Jeep and said, I'm going to sign up for Lyft. And I did. And 3 months into it, I got carjacked downtown on the south side of Chicago at 1:30 in the morning. And I kept doing it. And everybody kept saying, you got to put cameras in the car. You got to put cameras in the car. You got to put cameras in the car. And we need to film this. And I said, I didn't want to, because I didn't want people to know that I was driving for Lyft. There's a stigma that goes with it. But now it's a pretty freaking dangerous gig. There's carjackings, 3 to 4 or 5 carjackings every single day now. And I'm a victim of that. Those people never went to jail. Anyway, I enjoy doing it because I meet a lot of people. Tough guy now to drive for Lyft. Oh, I fought that guy who carjacked me until the 3 other guys jumped out of the car and all threatened to kill me. So I let him go and take it. But anyway, it's a scary job. So you just, and it's happening at all hours of the day now. So in all neighborhoods and even in the suburbs, it's really out of control. But I like the challenge. Go ahead and challenge me. I'm always up for a good fist fight. So if somebody's who wants to scrap, wants to dance, I'm willing to dance. I'll dance. I'll take a black eye.
I like to dance too, but I've never used the term that way.
Yeah, it's a different kind of dancing. I think you're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what I like to
exactly.
do. I don't go out and pick fights. Certainly, I'm too old. I'm 55 years old. But if somebody wants to, try and steal my car again, good luck with you. There's this whole concealed carry thing and everything, and I'm, you know,
It
you
is
know,
what it is.
I can't really say that publicly, but
Of
you
course.
never know. You never know what
Ex-
I got in my pocket. Um,
Exactly.
anywho, but anyway, so I started doing that. We started shooting life rides, and finally I did it and started gathering all this information, doing these pilots and going, wow, people are really amazing. And here's what I learned shooting life rides is that I don't care what your economic status is, your socioeconomic status is, whatever it is, everybody's life is the same. It's just all relative. And this is very, very interesting in this because I can pick a guy up from the airport who's complaining about his BMW payment the same way I'm picking a guy up in the shitty part of Joliet who's going to the plasma center to get $50 to pay his electric bill. The problems are the same. They're just relative. They don't seem the same on the surface, but they're
Right,
exactly the same.
right.
I have picked up just as many forlorn black people as I've picked up forlorn white people. So everybody's a mess in their own way. And the world is completely full of BS all the way around. Nobody really speaks the truth about their reality because it can be embarrassing, because, you have an image to uphold or whatever the case may be. But we're all the same.
Yeah.
We are all the same. And I'll tell you what, you sit in this car, you watch these things when we put these life rides up, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. I
Well, I
don't care.
definitely encourage everyone to look out for that show. Make sure you're following Darren Dag on Facebook and the Dag Show
Follow
so
me at
that
the
you can know.
facebook.com/the Dag Show. Go like and share that page. And then all the videos of everything we do are at
Yeah.
thedagshow.com.
So then
So
you'll know when that's airing. And I really want to encourage, if you're watching right now, make sure that you're sharing the video along with us because we really want to get the word out about this. I teach English online as a second language, and so I get the opportunity to get the same lesson. It's actually, like you said, it's the same around the world, that we really have so much more alike than we do not alike. And that's what people would always say, when you travel the world, you find that out. I'm getting the chance to travel the world from my little closet, teaching people English, and I'm learning the same thing you are. So it's a pretty cool thing. So on this show, I really like to talk to people about their spiritual journey and path. I believe that we're all spirit living in a body, and that's kind of where I start. Do you have any like spiritual background? I know you said your family was pretty interesting, so I don't know. But what is your like relationship spiritually?
well, I guess if you were to look at my, listen, I'm Catholic. Okay, I was brought up Catholic and Lutheran back and forth, but I'm Italian, so I had this Lutheran side on my mom's side, and then of course everybody on my dad's side was diehard, Catholic. Um, my aunts and uncles always drugged me to church when I was little. Um, spiritually, I'm to be quite honest with you, I'm probably would be defined as pretty lost. you know, um, I have things that haunt me to this very day, about my upbringing, my inability to maintain good, solid personal relationships. With the opposite sex, I'm terrified of those things. I got mommy issues, I guess you would call them. So spiritually, I struggle there because for me, I have this desire to want to believe in something. I want to be focused on something that I find important, and I want to know. Like a good friend of mine's a priest, so I'll defer to Father Matt occasionally, and but I don't find that I'm always getting what I need out of it because, quite frankly, I don't know what the hell it is I need. I have no clue. Um, I'm a kind of person who, when people get close to me, I run in the other direction. When people show me love, I don't believe it. So I'm horrified of everything. You know, it's really a
What do
struggle. I mean, so
you what do you think when I said that I believe we are all spirits living in a body? Does that resonate with you? Do you think that that's true? Or do you think you
um,
are your body, you are your personality, you are your history? Or are you more?
I really don't. I don't know. I've never really thought about it that way. Nobody's ever posed the question to me that way. Um, y- you know, I'm a busy guy. And when I get focused, I'm focused. So there's not a lot of time left in my week to really sit down and think about me. You know, I'm completely terrified of myself. Let's be honest. You can't do what I do and not have issues. This is an egocentric, egomaniacal nightmare of a life that I live in the entertainment business. And I try and step away from it. I'm very, very critical of myself, but I'm very lost at the same time. Um, I have a tendency to, in my personal life, destroy every relationship that comes near me. So at that point, I don't know whether I find it in religion, whether I find it in spirituality, whether I find it in Buddhism. I've looked into all of these things, and none of them have really shown me the light, so to speak. And maybe I'm
Yeah,
not
well,
listening close enough.
yeah, well, I definitely felt a connection with you when we met beyond just, I think we both do a good job of the hosting thing. And we have some, symbiotic relationship with that. But I felt there was something deeper. I feel like I've been able to help people feel more connected and grounded just by starting with who are you, right? And you're the one that you spend the most time with. And so the way I like to describe God and where a good way to begin is if you imagine that there's an ocean, in front of us. If I take my cup and dip it in the ocean, I have ocean in a cup, right? So it's no less ocean just because it's in this cup. It's not in the ocean anymore, but it's in this cup. That's what's in this cup. So we were all made in the image and the likeness of God. You are ocean in a cup. I am ocean in a cup. I am God in this cup. And so is every person. Like every person is dipped out of the ocean of God. And so that's how we are all spirit, because that's where we came from. It's who and it's what we are. It's kind of like if you want to see the expression of who God is in the earth, you would look at every person. And if you put them all together, we all represent God in our essence, in the center of who we are and who we were created to be.
See, that's very deep, and like
But
my
you
friends that
understood
tell
it, right? It's not so deep you couldn't understand it.
I get what you're saying. It's metaphorical,
Yeah.
and I love metaphors. That doesn't mean I can be convinced that all metaphors have value, and I'm not saying that yours don't. Um, what I'm trying to say here is like, for me tonight, I'm doing a human interest piece with Nikki Bryant. She's a woman with scoliosis, very beautiful woman who she just got engaged. She's running for the cover of Inc. magazine. She's really put herself out there with expressing herself and showing her body and her tattoos and things like that. And it's a very interesting piece for me, because I think where I get the most joy is in learning about other people as opposed to learning about myself. See, I live alone, and I'm really good in that place. It's when I get around other people, I'm terrible. I don't know how to be emotional around other people. I've never experienced that towards me. My last relationship, the woman I was with was, when things were good, she was so kind and wonderful to me. I had no ability to cope with it. It freaked me out. So, the whole ocean in a cup and we're all kind of one and this and that thing, as much as it can resonate with me, it doesn't mean that I can understand it, because
Well, no,
I'm
no,
scared.
no.
I'm
So
scared of
let me,
everything.
yeah, I get it. So I just want to show you, if you can understand that, then I want to take you to the next thing. So I think the reason why you do what you do in terms of the show, in terms of life rides, even being a Lyft driver, and why you enjoy that is because you enjoy other people. I think you have an appreciation for the God inside of other people. You're able to see that. You're able to see their worth and their value, across race and across everything. You look
That
at
I
that,
would
you
agree with.
see that. Okay.
That I
All right.
agree 100% with.
All
Yes.
right. So now, taking that the next step then. The issue that you're having then is you really don't have a problem in your relationship with other people. Your issue is your relationship with yourself. Okay?
Yes.
Because if
Absolutely
you,
100% correct.
yeah. So
Everybody who knows me will agree.
so it's not the other people, it's the relationship with yourself. When they desire to have a relationship with your true self, you immediately repel it because they cannot do something you are not doing. If you don't have a good relationship with the true self, then no one else can. Okay?
Correct. Yeah,
So,
I get that.
yeah. So,
I would agree with that.
yeah. So I'm able to take, if you're able to agree with the first thing I say, then I'm able to take you to the next and the next and the next. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay. So now, I was just saying this to some Christians earlier. This is really true what I'm about to say. Nothing in the Bible, nothing in terms of any universal law, anything that works, you give, you pretty much get in life what you give in general, okay? None of that really works to someone's advantage until they begin to love themselves. And the reason that nothing really works until you love yourself. I mean, it works a little, but it doesn't work the way it's supposed to until you love yourself. And the reason for that is this: because God loves you. And until you agree with God about that, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters to God because He loves you. But God's opinion of you, my opinion of you, your ex-wife, your manager, no one's opinion of you matters more than your opinion of you. So you are the key to unlocking everything the way it's supposed to really work.
Well, here's the problem, for me. Well, what I perceive as a problem is, I'm always told I'm selfish. Okay. I want to do what I want to do. Listen, I've worked hard to get my life to a place where I want it to be. And I've had struggles where it's gotten there and then I've lost it all and then done it again and lost it and then won and then everything was great. And then bam, here I am 55 years old and alone. The challenge for me is I have no problem. Every day I have this routine is what can I do today better than I did yesterday? And where am I failing myself? And I know where all those issues are. I know when I let myself down. I know when I failed me. I know when I failed people that I care about.
But being self-critical, even being selfish and being self-competitive are not the same as loving yourself. It's not the same as loving yourself.
Well, then I'm screwed. I'm
Well,
ruined.
what I'm doing is I'm showing you, because you know what you're doing, but you don't know what you're not doing. And so I'm showing you what it is that you're not doing that's the key to unlocking everything else. And that's that. And so let me come back at this another way. You have a very like strong view, strong opinion of your history. You can tell your story very well, and you can tell the story of all your faults and failures and everything really well. You have a very like strong relationship to the way you've seen yourself. And it's like you kind of grip, on that thing. But I'm challenging you to see yourself in a different way. And that's really where any like fight or push and pull is happening in my when I talk to you about this stuff, because you're like, no, I'm this. And I'm like, well, are you sure? You know, because to love yourself, you cannot hold on to every critical thought. Like, you wouldn't talk to someone the way you talk to yourself. You wouldn't. You would, the things that you think about yourself, you wouldn't constantly berate another person that way. But you do it to yourself. And it's just not loving. Think about the different attributes of love. And are you doing that for yourself? Like when I asked you to write down a kind thing from your last show, have you been doing that after every show, or did you just do it the one time?
Just did it the one time.
Ha.
It's
So
I can't bring myself to do it. I can't, because
talk to me
I'm
about why it was so difficult.
because it's, to me, it's self-aggrandizing. And I'm listen, when I go out and do these shows and I try and be funny and entertaining, that's self-aggrandizing enough for me. When I write music and I put out a record or I go on stage, that's self-aggrandizing enough for me.
But it's not even self-aggrandizing because it's entertaining. So I'm getting pleasure. The audience is getting pleasure. We're laughing.
Right.
It's
And
not for you.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, but
I'm
what I'm
not.
saying, it's not self-aggrandizing at all, because you're doing it for other people. Like, it's completely like a selfless act when you like make fun of yourself or say, talk about your beautiful hair. The impact it's having on us, and that's why you're doing it. You're not even doing it for you. So
That's an interesting way to look at it.
well, and it's true. So what I'm saying is, who told you about this? Who gave you this terminology about self-aggrandizing? And who told you that you're not worthy of love, or loving yourself is a crock of BS or whatever? Like, where are you getting this information?
It's just a lifetime of living the life I've lived. Listen, I've been on my own. I woke up one day. I'll tell you a quick little story. This is the way I grew up. So I'm a teenager. I think I was 16 or 17 years old. And I woke up one day to being shaken by people with badges. My parents, I don't know where they went. I have no idea where they disappeared to. Apparently what had happened is my mother went and got a new house, and my dad, my dad was struggling with that, so he spent some time, just decompressing in a hospital. And they took everything I owned. They said I couldn't take anything. I could pack one bag of clothes and take one guitar. They wouldn't let me take the things that my great grandmother left to me, the record player or the jazz records, nothing. And they threw me out of the house, and I had to go live in my car. And I didn't know where any of my parents were at the time. I had no idea.
I'm sorry, how old were you again?
16 or 17, 17 maybe, I think. I was 17. So, like I said, I was touring since I was 14. Music was the only thing that gave me any solace, kept me away from drugs and really, really bad behavior. And, but, I was alone then. There was nobody there for me. Now, my grandparents, who lived kind of far away, they were always good to me. But like growing up, I never heard things like "I love you" or, let me give you a hug or whatever. That's not how I grew up. I grew up, especially when I was young. Like when I was 5 years old, my mom was 20. And I'll never forget this. I remember this almost every day like it happened yesterday. And we got in the car. We picked up who I guess was her boyfriend. She goes, Mr. Rebeletti's going to be your new dad. You can call him Dad now. And that's that's it. And then it took 4 more years, and then he adopted me as his own son. My natural father signed me off when I was in the hospital as a baby. I carry those adoption papers around with me in my backpack for $2,400. So this was my life. And so my mom would come in and out of my life all the time as a little kid. I would get stuck with my grandparents, stuck with my aunt, get stuck with another family member, and back and forth. And it went on for a long time. And then she got pregnant again and gave a kid up for adoption. It was a freaking nightmare. So you grow up like that. And then you got a guy who you're forced to have your father. Then that marriage falls apart. And then there's a new guy 2 weeks later. You know, it was just, there was no love or appreciation for me at all. And my mom had kids with my adopted father, and those are the most important things in her life, are those 2 boys, not me, those 2 boys. And I haven't talked to my mother in 10 years.
So is it safe to say that you're not interested in emulating either of your parents?
Well, no, I don't want to be anything like them. No.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's all coming clear,
my
Darren
adopted
Dag.
father,
It's all coming clear.
My adopted father is a good man, and you know, he tried hard, but he was unemotional too. So we have a very close relationship to this day. We talk multiple times a week, and I love him to pieces. But my mother also went to jail. You know, there were all these terrible things that happened. I got alienated from my family for years. It was terrible. So when, you know, the things I do that bring me happiness are like the pieces I'm going to do tonight on with Nikki, learning about their life. You know, those things, I can always pick and pull little things from those kind of human interest pieces, like the Cunningham Barnes family thing I did. You know, I think about them every day and go, I should call James, or I should call Wendy and say, hey, you know, I'm having a bad day. Nah, you know what? I've done everything for myself for my whole life.
And look how well it's working. Why should you change if it's working so well?
Well, personally,
my point
it's
is,
working like
it's
shit,
not.
to be honest.
Yeah. So it's okay to consider change when things are working like shit. Okay. Like you could do something different. Things aren't working. So guess what?
What?
I have a message from God for you. Do you have a pen and paper?
Mm-mm. No,
Great.
I'm in my car.
Fine, then I have to text it to you, but I will, okay? It's what I want you to think about until tomorrow when I bother you some more. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Selfishness is not the same as self-love. That's the message. That's what I'm going to text you. Now, this is what I want to say. Well, that's why you need to think about it until tomorrow, because you don't get it right now. But in 24 hours, you'll have a little bit. So here's the thing. You are, in your essence, spending a lot of time to make sure you're not like your parents. And there are self-loving things that you want to do, but they seem selfish to you. You are equating selfishness with self-love. So anything self-love, you're calling it selfish, and you're not allowing yourself to do it because it reminds you of the selfishness of your parents. But I want to assure you that your parents did not love themselves. They were selfish people, not self-loving people. And what your instincts to begin to do, call the Barnes, maybe write down something nice about yourself, little things, just little things for Darren, that is not selfish. It is self-love. And what it does is it puts you in agreement with God, because God loves you. And then you're agreeing because you're like, you know what? I love me too. I'm going to do this for me. Maybe I don't love me a lot. I'm just getting started here, but it's a little beginning. And all we're looking for is the fulcrum at the top of a scale beginning to tip toward the right side. That's all we need. We just need a little
But
tip.
how does any of that, help me in a future relationship? How is that being selfish and accepting being selfish with myself seems like that's only going to make things worse, and I can't even manage those relationships.
Yeah, because you didn't
So
manage the first thing I said. Selfishness is not self-love. That's why you need to spend all until tomorrow at 8 p.m. thinking about that. Because selfishness is not self-love. Those are two totally different things. Your parents did not love themselves, so they were not able to love you or anyone else properly because they're selfish. That is not self-love. It's totally
it sure
different.
seems my mom loves my brothers. She doesn't seem to give a shit about me.
Those
So
are
how can you say?
okay. So let me give you one more thing. People look at, this is a Bible verse. People look at outward appearances. God looks at the heart. If you don't love yourself, you don't know how to love someone else. Now, if she learned how to love herself at some point, she might be able to love your brothers at a certain way. But if she really loved herself, she would figure out how to love you. So it's still not a real good role model. I'm just wanting to help you identify the difference between selfishness and self-love. There's a world of difference in between the two.
Why does that matter at this point? Because I'm 55 and
because you are avoiding activities that are going to help you, because you are mislabeling those activities. No one will be able to love you until you love yourself. That's why it's important. That's what it has to do with any type of relationship. You have to love yourself first. And I can give you like a lot of different proofs and a lot of different spiritual laws and Bible verses that say that. I can show you those things, but it's almost like you innately know, because it, at least the math works. You don't really love yourself. No one's able to love you. So at least by hypothesis, I'm probably right, because you certainly by your life haven't been able to prove me wrong. So if you do the opposite of what you're doing, that might probably work. I mean, just like in a scientific way of thinking, if you do the opposite of what you're doing, it would probably work. So the only message for today is selfishness is not self-love. And I want you to begin to wrap your mind around it. Now, what is Kevin Scott saying? Oh, that's my friend Kevin. I thought it was one of your viewers. I'll look at it later. Kevin's a beautiful man. All right, Darren, is that enough for today? Did I bug you enough until tomorrow?
Yeah, this was interesting. This is a big problem I have, is that I'm willing to spew my whole life out.
Yeah.
On camera for everybody to see. It really can be disturbing sometimes.
Finally, you are doing it in a place where it can be helpful as opposed to damaging, because I know how to take it. Like, I know how to receive it, and I know how to help, and now I know better how to pray for you and everything else. So we're going to have a blast tomorrow, and I'm going to have you back on the show, and we're going to continue this fun stuff at some point.
Continue to therapize Darren.
Yeah,
we're gonna get Dag all
I'm having
normal.
a ball. That's
well,
actually not, that is above my pay grade. I cannot promise you normal. Okay? We're just going to work on love right now, Darren. We're just going to work on love.
All right.
And I will see you tomorrow, my friend.
I look forward to it, honey. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Guys, go out to, since you're on my page, say what your page is.
Oh, that's
and
a good idea. I'm Simply Felicity Media.
Simply Felicity Media, Facebook.com/Simply Felicity Media.
Yes,
correct?
Sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Get
see
out
you
there,
tomorrow.
pay attention to her. And hey, guys, we will see you tonight.
Oh, yeah.
On my show. Tune in.
Yeah, very cool sounding show.
It's going to be very fun. Nikki Bryant is a contestant. She's actually now been asked. She's on 2 different platforms that want her to be the cover girl. She's
Wow.
a woman who is a 38-year-old woman, very beautiful. She's tatted up. She just got engaged. She has scoliosis. She's overcoming all these things, and she's a health and wellness and fitness trainer. And she has been. She's had her own company for years, and she's very, very successful at it. And
She is really
now she has this new
ocean
integrated
in a cup.
family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's ocean in the cup, all right. So I'm looking forward to meeting with her, asking her a lot of questions, and finding out about meeting her kids and her. I think they're step kids or what, I can't even remember. But learning about what motivated her to want it, because really she really exposed herself in a literal sense to in a very classy way to let people see what she's dealing with, what she's becoming. I want to ask the questions of why the tattoos and things like that. And I have tattoos, so I know why I like tattoos. But it's a whole different generation now of women tatting themselves up, and she's really done a classy job at it. And it's just going to be it's just another human interest piece that I think is going to be exciting, because she's charming and she's got a wonderful family. So I'm looking forward to. I got a 2-hour drive to get there. So
Yikes.
yeah,
Well,
I
I'm
go
looking
to where
forward
the
to seeing
story
you
is.
as well. I'm looking forward to seeing it as well. And thank you again, Darren. I will see you tonight and tomorrow night.
All right, thanks, honey. You have a good one, and bye, everybody. Go watch Felicity.
Bye.
We'll talk to you later, honey.